All right, shalom, shalom. It's Brother Tazadak, Hero Israel. Before I get started, I'd like to give honor and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Today we're going to Amos chapter 8, going to the Hebrew. So, Lord willing, you're edified. Give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Let's get right into it, right? Let's look at the prologue for this chapter, which is chapter 8, right? So this is from BibleHub.com, which is divided here into looks like 4 parts, right? 5 parts. 2, 3, 4, 4 parts. So it says Amos 8 is a solid reminder of the consequences turning away from God's commandments, embracing corruption, injustice, and false religious practices. While the judgment pronounced is severe, the underlying message is one of divine justice and call to righteousness. It underscores the importance of maintaining our spiritual integrity and acting with justice and fairness in our daily lives. So verses 1 through 2 speaks of a summer fruit, which the Lord, I believe, that is also mentioned in the book of Jeremiah. Let's see if we can get that real quick. It says here, Jeremiah 24 and 2. Good figs and the bad figs, right? Now let's look at the chapter, see what the chapter says. I believe it is talking about Southern Kingdom when he went into the Babylonian captivity. Yeah, Khan. So let's read Jeremiah 24 and 2. One basket had very good figs, even like the figs that are first ripe, and the other basket had very naughty figs, which could not be eaten. They were so bad. So the good figs was talking about those that were carried captive of Judah unto the Chaldeans. Verse 8 says, the evil figs. It's talking about the nobles of Judah, or particular men, Zedekiah, king of Judah, his princes, and the residue of Jerusalem that remained in the land, and them that dwell in Egypt, to be delivered to removed into all the kingdoms of the earth, to their hurt. Right? But you can compare that to today. You have very good figs, which is the remnant of the nation of Israel, right? Which are the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Americans. And then you have the bad figs, which are real bad, could not be eaten, right? But in a sense, this is not in any way speaking on future prophecy, right? Because it's talking about a particular time. Now let's close this window. So let's go back to the prologue. Let's look at the verse in question. Here it's actually referencing a basket of summer fruit. So Lord was talking about the northern kingdom, right? But as you can see, he says this is mentioned twice when he says, I will not pass over them anymore. Because in a sense, this chapter talks about the northern kingdom and events that already transpired, but there's some future prophecy in here as well. So you can take this as back then addressing the northern kingdom, and today uh, future prophecy, right? The day when the Lord will visit 2/3, right? The remnant, and will not pass over them again. Verse 3, uh, again, this is talking about back then and now, right? Uh, so let's go into it, actually. Verse 1 says, Thus he had showed me, the Lord God, behold, a basket of summer fruit, which is not actually figs. You go into the blue letter, the word Kwayatazad actually means summer. Kalab actually means a cage. It's another way to say basket, right? So it would literally read as, Thus he has showed me, the Lord God, behold, a cage of summer, as in a basket of summer fruit, which will read Ka Habra Naya Adanya Yahweh Wahana Kalab Kwayataza. Kalab also means dog, right? And he said, What do you see, Amos? And I said, A basket of summer fruit. And he said, The Lord unto me, So has come the end unto my people Israel. I will not any more pass over unto them. Waya Amar Ma'ata Ra'a Amos Wa Amar Kalab Kwayataza Waya Amar Yahweh Aliyah Ba'a Hakwataza Al Imas Yashar Allah La'a Asayap Iwad Ibar Lawa. Which, like I said, right, talking about back then and now, right? Verse 3, and will have the singers, the singing woman of the temple in the day that is, saith the Lord God, many corpses upon in all places, thrown about in silence, which reads, Wa Hayal Yalwa Shayarath Hayakol Bayawam Hahawa Naam Adanya Yahweh Rab HaPagar Bakol Makwam Hashalyak Hasa, which is that word Hayal Yal. The root is Hayalol, meaning to howl. Shayar means a song. The tha at the end makes it feminine. It's a feminine form of it, meaning singing women, which you see, right, which happened back then. There were singing women in the temple of the Lord, which was off, right, because King David actually appointed Levites to do the singing and the ministration, to be porters, and so on and so forth. I don't recall any women being assigned to that duty, and you see that today, right? In these Christian Catholic Church, these various churches, right? You got women being pastors, teaching, singing, right? They got the core set up, right? Being out there when that's not what the Lord ordained, right? He said women should be meek and silent, right? Learning from their husband, right? Not to be taught by other men, right? Because that promotes disorder, right? So it says, much corpses in all places will be thrown about. That word pagar means to be limp, right? Doesn't actually mean corpse. Um, so you can say this is talking about back then and now, which it is, because it's evident that that's a type of destruction that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to bring. Right? First, you got to have the main prophecy, the charagma instituted, and then you're going to have um, the third woe, FEMA camps, martial law, all hell breaking loose. Right? As you see the economic downturn of America, Babylon the Great, store closings, false flag events, right? More plagues, more confusion, right? Like recently at camp, right? It's always when you go to camp, you got particular demons that come out, try to hinder the word, right? Verse 4 says, "Hear this, you that puff at the needy, and cause to seize the meek, the afflicted, from off the land." Which says, "Shamaywa Za'ath Ha Sha'apium Abyawan Wala Shabiath Ainaya Ya Arataza." Right? And you see that type of mentality even today, right? Jake puffing, boasting, being proud, right? But the Lord said He's going to turn that pride when the day of the Lord gets closer. He's gonna uh, he's gonna turn down that pride and remove it off of you heathens, 2/3, and Esau Edom, right? So let's see, what was I going to bring out? I was going to bring out a precept. Proverbs. Let's get that. I believe it's 30 or something like that. And recently I brought out at camp, right? Yahweh Shai in Luke chapter 21, he said, "This generation shall not pass till all things be fulfilled," right? Which they call here Generation Z, the last generation, right? Basically. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. Let's go into the particular verse that I'm looking for, which is might be 29. Proverbs 29. Let's see. That's not it. This is Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 13, verse 11. There is a generation that curseth their father and does not bless their mother. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. There is a generation, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There is a generation whose teeth are as swords, and their jaw teeth as knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among men. Right? So that's the mindset that Esau Edom is pushing in the earth, right? Pride, um, the desires of the eyes, the pride of life, like it says in the book of, I believe that's First John, first book of Saint John. Um, let's get that real quick. First John chapter 2, verse 16. Let's get it in the New Living Translation. For the world offers only a craving for physical pleasure, a craving for everything we see, and pride in our achievements and possessions. These are not from the Father, but are from this world. The KJV, King James Version says, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Right? Which is why the Lord said he despises your feast days, your solemn assemblies, because this is what you have these other camps doing, having lavish Passover feast, cookouts, and whatnot, but they slack in the actual work that the Lord said to do, right? Which is prophesy, edify, and rebuke, reprove, and exhort in season, out of season. Not like you have particular IUIC members, they take the winter off, so on and so forth, right? So let's see. Second address. So verse 4 said, right, that puff at the needy, that calls to seize the afflicted from the earth or from the land, right? Verse 5, to say, when will be over the new moon, and we may sell um, we may sell corn or grain, and what's that say? It says and the Sabbath, I believe, and the Sabbath, and that we may open up the granaries to make them small, to make small the epath, and to enlarge the shekel, to pervert the balances of deceit, right? It says La Amar Mataya Ya Ibar Ha Chadash Wa Na Shabira Shabar Waha Shabbath Wana Patacha Bar Laha Kwatian Ayapa Walaha Gadiel Shakol Wala Iwath Mazanya Marama, right? So that word Mataya, sometimes it means an adult, right? Or a person in general sense. But this also means, right, in time or uh, or in this case, um, till what time, right? Of course, Chadash means new moon or to renew, refresh. Here where it says Nab Shabira, it's it means to sell, but the root is actually shabar, to break, right? You have a saying in the world, to break bread, right? Here it says shabar, which means the same thing, but in this case it's talking about grain. It says here corn, but it's not specifying whether it's corn, so it's just talking about grain in general, right? Just like the word bar, which is it just means, it doesn't mean wheat, it just means grain in general, because the root word is barar, meaning to purge, right? In this case, it says to open the granary, to make small the epaph. Epaph is a particular measurement, right? And to make great the shekel, basically, right, to raise up the price and so on and so forth, make the measurement small. And Iwath, the root word is Iwad, just means to bend, right? To curve, to pervert. Azanya just means balances or scales, the scales of deceit. Mabrama, which is actually means treachery, right? Let's look up the definition of treachery. Betrayal of trust, deceptive action, or nature. Middle English from Old French treacherie, from tretrier, to cheat. So that's what Jake was doing back then, right? And today, I mean, you can say today as well, right? But this is talking about back then. Verse 6, to sell upon silver the feeble and the needy upon a pair of shoes, and the refuse of grain to sell to sell it, which reads La Quanath Ba Kasap Dolium Wa Abyawan Ba Ibar Nyalium Wa Mapol Par Na Shabiar. Because that word Paul, it just means to fall, right? Mapol, it's talking about refuse, right? Basically, when you're threshing grain, right, or you're transporting it, some pieces will fall off So Jake would go and get that, pick it up, and then sell it, right? Which the law says you're not supposed to glean your vineyard. You're supposed to leave it for the poor. So it says, that's pretty much it for that verse, right? So Jake was being greedy, right? Verse 7, he has sworn the Lord upon the pride of Jacob, if I should forget the splendor of all their doings, right? Because that word natazach means splendor, right? The Lord, he's obviously he's not being serious, right? When he says splendor, right? He's showing the sarcasm here, right? Which says, Na Shabai Yahweh Ba Ga'awan Yahikwab I'm Ashakach Lanatazach Kol Ma Ashayaham. Basically, the Lord is saying you splendidly effed up, right? It's that sarcasm, right? Verse 8 says, upon this will it not tremble the land or the earth and mourn all the inhabitants upon it, to rise up like a river completely, and be thrust out like the overflowing, like the river of Egypt. Because that word R or Ya'ar just means river, right? That's a Egyptian loan word. So it reads Ha'ila Za'ath La'a Thagaraz Ha'ratazah Wa'abal Kal Yeshab Baha Wa'ilatha Ka'ar Kala Wanag Garasha Wana Shakwaya Kai Ya'ar Matazarium. The Lord saying basically, shall not the earth shake for this, and not mourn all the inhabitants upon it, to ascend up fully like the Nile, or like a flood, and to thrust out and to overflow like the river of Egypt, right? Because that's what the Lord is describing as the destruction that is coming, which is what the pale horse, which represents the calamity, everything, right? Reaching its peak, right? Like it says in the book of Isaiah, that what when they shall come in like a flood, right? The Lord shall lift up a standard against him, right? The scriptures also say that there shall be sedition in many places, spoiling, destroying, and destroying those that fear the Lord, right? Esau Edom is going to be like a madman sparing none. The book of Second Ezra says that what the bridegrooms will not have, the bridesmaids will not have bridegrooms because they're going to go into the wars. The draft is coming back, right? All these things, right? Which the Lord spoke of. Uh, um, Earthquakes in diverse places, which is happening now. But when the armies are fighting amongst each other, when World War III kicks off, the earth's gonna shake, right? People are gonna mourn, right? There's gonna be right, those rising up like a flood, right? There's gonna be overflowing of an example, right, of the Coast Guard troops, right? When all hell breaks loose, right? So Amos 8:8, it says, that's why it says, upon this shall not tremble the earth. That word regaz means to tremble. Let's look at that word. But the Lord was also talking about the northern kingdom, saying, right, should you not be afraid, because I'm speaking about what's gonna the captivity you're gonna go into, right? Coming in as a flood, right? Because that's what the Assyrians did. Came in and right carried them off into Assyria, right? So just look at that word, regaz. Salakia. Strong's H7264. To quake, to agitate, to move, to be disturbed. To tremble, to quake. Basically, it just means to quake, to be agitated. The word shakwai, let's look at that word. Which I believe it means here is read as shakwa. Which is to drink, to give, to irrigate, in a sense, to overflow or to flood, right? Just another way to say to overflow, right? Verse 9, and it will come to pass in the day that is, saith the Lord God, and I shall cause go down the sun in the noonday, and I will darken the earth in the day of light. Wa haya bayawam ha hawa naam adanya Yahweh wa ha ba'athaya ha shamash ba tazaharium wa ha hashak thaya salaki la rataza bayawam awar. The sun going down at noon, darkening the earth in a clear day. Let's talk about the missiles, right? Nuclear fallout, mushroom clouds, right? Which is why the scriptures say that, right, the day of the Lord is darkness and not light, right? So that's pretty self-explanatory. Let's see how many more verses we got. All right, come on. Amos 8 and 10. And I will turn your festivities unto mourning, and all your songs into a dirge or elegy, which we went over that previously. And I will cause to ascend up upon all the loins sackcloth, and upon all heads baldness. And I will place like unto the morning. I want to call, or Salaki, and I will cause like unto the morning of an only son. And the end of it shall be like a day, like a bitter day, which reads, Waha wa hapakthaya chag yakam la abal wakal shayar yakam la kwayana waha al yathaya al kal mathayim mathnayim shak wa al kal ra'ash kwaracha washam taya ka abal yachayad wa Haryatha Kayawam Mor, which the word hapak means to overturn. Chag means a feast day or compass. Kwayana, dirge, elegy. Mathanya means loins. Shak means sackcloth. Upon all heads baldness. Right? There shall be mourning like the mourning of an only son. Or I will cause to be a mourning, there to be a mourning like uh, the mourning of an only son. And the latter end of it shall be like a bitter day. Which is what the Lord is going to do eventually, right? As famine starts to hit, famine of the word, right? Yahweh Shem Yahushai is already exposing these false pastors, IUIC, ISUPK, Sakari. They're choppy breakdowns, right? So the Lord is letting them basically revile in their wickedness, right? Their large congregations, right? But eventually, when shit hits the fan, right, they're not going to be able to even keep the feast days, right, properly, right? Because the Lord is going to bring famine, right? They're going to have to cast away, right, the Lord and His Word, because they're gonna take the charagma, right? Basically, the Lord is going to cause a like Yahweh Shai said, I saw Satan like lightning falling from heaven. That represents uh, um, the, the 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 great fall, the quick fall that he's going to cause concerning Esau Edom's kingdom, right? The economy, right? All these things are going to uh, come as a snare onto those that are not informed of these things, right? So it's going to be, like it says here, songs into lamentation, right? Baldness upon every head, sackcloth, right? But you're going to have particular individuals taken to internment camps, right? They're going to cut all your hair off. You're going to be, right, prepared for to be beheaded, right? you're going to be wearing a damn uniform, right? It's going to be a bitter end, right? Because you're going to have rioting, you're going to have sedition among men, right? You're going to have those that take the charagma, right? Invade those that don't take it. They're going to invade those that did take it, right? And all hell is going to break loose. It's going to be a bitter end. Esau Edom's going to be driving around and he's going uh, be looking to grab particular jakes and right and you're gonna have right and to pop them and then maybe cook them and eat them and all kinds of madness is gonna happen. It's gonna be a bitter end, right? And then the missiles are gonna hit, and then that's gonna be it for 2/3 you heathens and Esau Edom, right? Amos 8 and 11. Behold, the days coming, saith the Lord God, and I will send out a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, and not of thirst of water, because if it should be for hearing unto the words of the Lord, which reads Hana Yam Yam Ba'ayim Naam Adanya Yahweh Waha Shalachtaya Rayab Ba'rataza La'a Rayab La Lacham Wa La'a Tazama La Mayim Kaya Ain La Shabai La Shamai Atha Dabaria Yahweh. That word Rayab means famine, right? Like it says here, not a bread of water, but hearing the words of the Lord, right? Which brings me to a precept I recently brought out at camp, which speaks about a crying for wine, right? Let's get it in the King James Version. Isaiah 24:11. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. Right? Because right now, Jake can move about. Right? Uh, you can go to damn burger and a fry. Right? So they seem to be in a good case, like it says in the book of Second Esdras. Right? But eventually, that mirth, that ability to move about, right? Because you're the book of Second Esdras says that what one man shall hardly be able to enter into another city, right? So what does that mean? Crying for wine in the streets, right? When things ante up, right? People are going to want answers, right? They're going to cry for wine, meaning wine is compared unto doctrine, right? Jacob's 2/3 are going to wonder how everything's going to play out. What is going on, right? Right now, Jake doesn't know what the hell's going on because if they did, they would turn back and seek the words of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. Right? So it says, verse 12, and the city is left desolation, the gate is smitten with destruction. Actually, this whole chapter is good. Let's start at Isaiah 24 and 2. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with the master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him, right? Because what does it say? Revelation 13:16, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, right? To receive the charagma, right? The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled. The Lord has spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore has the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Because that's what the Lord's going to do. He's going to scorch the earth, right? With the third woe, right? With the missiles, right? That curse devouring the earth is the chariots, right? They're going to zap particularly of you heathens, 2/3, right? And when all that's happening, you're going to want answers, right? You're going to seek the word of the Lord. You're not going to find it, because the Lord is going to cover the remnant in that day, right? Which is symbolic, which is compared like unto the second wilderness, right? It's not going to be an actual second wilderness. That's talking about the day when the Lord covers the remnant in the time of Jacob's trouble, however it may be, right? You may go from one city, and the Lord might uh, cause a all of a sudden a cave to appear. You're going to go in there, and right, and you're gonna be hidden that day, and you may walk in there, and then it'll be like a forest. You can have all kind of fruit there, right? Or you may just be trying to escape during Jacob's trouble, and then all of a sudden an angel pulls up that looks like a regular person, right? And you hop in, and then right, could anything could happen, right? So that's what it's talking about basically, right? When it mentions the in the book of Ezekiel, purged out the rebels from among them, the wilderness of the people, right? The people is Israel, right? The wilderness is basically the time of Jacob's trouble, right? The Lord purging out 2/3, right? Because they're going to receive particular judgments, right? Like I said, they might run into a group of Hamites, and they'll just cut them up and start drinking their blood. Or they might meet a group of Edomites. 2/3 will be trying to escape Jacob's trouble. They'll run into a group of Edomites, and they're going to pop them, and then they're going to uh, uh, you know, make a stew out of them, right? So let's read on down to see what else we can get out of this. When thus it shall be in the midst, verse 13, Isaiah 24:13. When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as a shaking of the olive tree, and as the gleaning grapes when the vintage is done. So, like, yeah, let me check on something real quick. Verse 14, right? Now, I don't know if I did a breakdown in this chapter, but I might have to do it soon because there's a lot in here you can pick apart. Verse 14, they shall lift up their voice, they shall sing for the majesty of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. They shall cry aloud from the sea, which is what we're doing, right? Prophesying, right? Isaiah 58, lift up your voice, spare not. Verse 15, therefore, wherefore glorify the Lord in the fires, even the name of the Lord God of Israel in the isles of the sea, right? That's talking about, right, us praising Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai even in tribulation, right? And literally, we're gonna the missiles are gonna hit, and the remnant are gonna be caught up in the air, barely making it, right? As we're getting caught up, right? We're gonna praise Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You know, it's gonna be crazy, right? And you can precept that with Revelation, the book Revelation, that says that they were going to be in the glass in the firmament, right, watching the burning of America Babylon Great, right, that bloody city, right, the great whore, right, right. So there's a lot here in this chapter, which I'm not going to go over all of it, right, but that's a good chapter to go into. I might have to do that. Let me screenshot this real quick because this is actually a good one. The water Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, our elders and apostles at Great Millstone, and for another day, right? Amos chapter 8 and verse 12, and will wander from sea unto sea, from the north even unto to the east. They will go about to seek unto the word of the Lord, and will not find it. Which reads, Wa naiwa mayam ad yum wama tazapan wa'ad mazarach yeshat la bakwash athad dabar Yahweh wa la'a ya mataza'a wa, which that word nai, it just means to wander. Let's look at that word shawat. Just means to go to and fro. It also means an oar or a paddle. It also means to row, and it also means a scourge. That word is shawat. Figuratively, to go to and fro, because it's in a sense to rove about, right? To row. For example, you got particular video games where the little square figures, I forgot what, um, robots or something like that. They walk like robots. That's how Satan moves, going to and fro, just being a damn demon. So they shall not find it, which brings me to my next verse, or precept. Second Ezra chapter 5 and verse 1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they which dwell upon the earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Right? That's talking about uh, during the wars, right? The remnant being hid, the way of truth is going to be hidden, because the Lord is going to close the gates of mercy, right? 2/3 they're not going to have no faith, right? But iniquity shall be increased above that which now thou seest, and thou hast heard long ago, and the land that thou seest now to have root shall be wasted suddenly. Verse 9, and salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into its secret chamber. Again, that's the remnant being hid. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and inconsistency be multiplied upon the earth. Right? So you can have some of the remnant, basically the remnant are going to be hid. You can have particular men that are going to, right, um, be martyred, right? But as a whole, the remnant are going to be covered, right? Salt water is found in the sweet, basically, right? The water is going to be no good, right? Because of the radiation, right? So as the remnant are hid, inconsistency is going to be increased, right? As the remnant are hid, you're going to have more of the Lord's judgments play out, right? And so on and so forth, right? Like I mentioned before, you're going to have, right? They're not going to regard their princes, their kings, right? Their governors. Verse 11, one land also shall ask another and say, is righteousness that maketh a man righteous gone through thee? And it shall say no, right? Because that famine of the word means, right, you're not going to be able to preach the word. You're not going to be able to own a copy of the scriptures, right, of the Holy Bible. And these heathens are just still going to think they got it, right? So verse 13 says, in the day that is, they shall faint the virgins fair, or the fair virgins, or beautiful, and the young men on uh, with thirst. The young men shall thirst, basically, which reads by Yawam ha hawa ta ilap na ha bathawalath ha yapath waha baharium ba tazama, because that word ilap, it means to faint, but it also means to cover, right? Which are the wise virgins, right? They're going to be covered, right? But the choice men will faint with thirst, right? Because we're the nation of Israel as a whole was chosen, but 2/3, right? They're going to go through it, right? They're going to receive their judgment for casting the word of the Lord behind them. And literally, right, because of the famine, the maidens are going to faint, right? They're going to get popped, and then the young men, right, they're going to faint from thirst, right? The book of Jeremiah says that all faces will be turned into paleness, right? Verse 14, that swear upon the trespass of Samaria and say, lives your God Dan, and lives the manor of Beersheba, and they will fall and will not rise anymore. Which is talking about the northern kingdom going into captivity, right? Into Assyria. So it says, Hana Shabayim ba Ashamath Shamarwan wa Amarwa Chaya Alahayaka Dan wa Haya Darak Ba'ar Shabai wa Napalwa wa La'a Ikwamwa Iwad. So that's pretty much it. You can read the rest of the prologue. You can pause it. I'm just going to put it on the screen. And pause and just do a little bit of reading. But that's pretty much it. Amos chapter 8, going into the Hebrew. Lord willing, you were edified. For the Atazadak hero of Israel, giving all honor and glory, as always, to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim B'Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Kwame Sha'ala, Bible Ball, Shalom.